Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Very special guest joining us, our good friend, John Maakaron, the publisher of All Lions and host of the Detroit Sports Podcast, joining the show. Welcome to the show, John. How you doing?
Thank you, guys. Big fans, obviously. Every morning, wake up, have a cup of coffee, check in with this great show. I appreciate the work you're doing. Thank you for having me on. Love talking football.
I can't wait, John. We got a lot to get to today. Obviously, with the Isaiah Bugg stuff, we'll just get that out of the way. You got your side of this, because me and Sam kind of talked about it earlier. To me, it's not a big storyline. I think it's as easy as there's, at least for the game plan, he obviously doesn't fit into the game plan, and there's a lot of depth already on this defensive line. Josh Pascal can move inside. You got Benito Jones now. What do you make of the Isaiah Bugg stuff?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying in terms of on the field, but the reason why everyone's talking about it is because why is a football player going to social media to scrub the team that he plays for that's giving him a large check? It's immature. And I know he kind of tried to downplay it, but everybody's watching what you're doing online. And when you're writing about relationships changing, scrubbing things from the Lions, and looking at the way in which you're conducting your business, it's not something that the Lions really are looking for. They're looking for all-in football players. And once, Isaiah Buggs did reveal, which is a little bit unusual for a player to come out in the media and say, hey, I'm not going to be playing. He did talk a little bit with a smaller group of reporters and said that he might be thinking this is a disciplinary decision by the Lions because he made the decision to stay away from the Lions a little bit due to family reasons, was having a child during the voluntary portion of the offseason. And, I understand both sides of it, where the Lions want players that are all in, but players at the same time do understand this is a business. And sometimes they make the decision to stay away and spend time with the family during the offseason. But the one thing you do recognize now is there's a player in the locker room that maybe is not exactly happy with the team that he's playing for.
And John, I kind of looked at it a little bit differently. When it comes to the Detroit Lions defensive line depth, I mean, you've got Ali McNeil, who I think will break out, but it's a think. We don't know it. Broderick Martin is obviously a rookie. The last time we saw Levi Onwuzurike on the field in a regular season game was 2021, and it was a mixed bag, I would say, at best. So do you think having a guy like Isaiah Buggs out at Kansas City in particular, even maybe moving forward, will hurt the Lions defense as a whole?
I look at it like, no, if the coaching staff decides that, look, Benito Jones really worked his way into many of the reporters' 53-man rosters. Early on, we kind of had him out, but then you just saw based on his play that, hey, this is a player that can come in and contribute. And look, football, the NFL, not for long. And sometimes there are players that come in and are going to do a better job for you. So I look at John Kaminsky, and just like you said, you have Ali McNeil, you have other players along that defensive front that I think are better than Isaiah Buggs. The issue is not really the decision, but you obviously look at, keeping the defensive line fresh so that they can continue to pressure the quarterback and stop the run and not overtaxing players that you don't know exactly what they're going to bring just yet in Benito Jones. But I look at it like when you're Isaiah Buggs and you want to stay in good graces, going online and telling everybody that you're not potentially happy with the team is not a good look to get yourself back on the field. Yeah, I think he's going to take it personally and work to get his way back, but that's just not the way to go about it. I think he should have took a more subdued approach to express his dissatisfaction. A lot of times they say, don't reveal what we're talking about to the media, and he just put it right out there for everybody to talk about.
Right. And John, another question for me, too. I mean, you got a chance to kind of have a one-on-one with Emmanuel Moseley. Can you give everybody kind of an update of his progression, the likelihood he plays, and what kind of impact he'll make once he gets out the field out there for the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, absolutely. Just before I came on and sat down, I did hit publish, and it's out there now. I had a Q&A with Emmanuel Moseley just after practice. I think it's a long shot when you look at what the Lions tend to do. They like to kind of put their players in the best position to succeed. Throwing them out there against the Chiefs week one to play a heavy dose of reps might be a stretch, especially since the first injury report came out and he was limited. But I do think this is a cornerback that fits exactly what Aaron Glenn loves. He told me he loves to hit. He's not scared of any wide receiver, and I think he's going to go out there and compete to play on the outside. Right now, that spot is taken by Jerry Jacobs, and I think he'll get the lion's share. Look, it's yet to be determined if Moseley will be out there, but if he is, you're not going to see him play all that much. It'll be in a reserve role because I think that Cam Sutton and Jerry Jacobs give you the best opportunity right now against the Chiefs because they had the entire training camp and have been through the entire process. But Emmanuel Mosley, when he comes in, he's going to give you a physical cornerback that's going to be able to help what Aaron Glenn loves, to play more man coverage. Last year, I know everybody was debating what Jeff Okudah could do with Ermanni Arawarie. I was one of the rare people that looked at training camp last year and said, hey, this football team talking about Ermanni taking that next step, he doesn't look like that. And obviously, when the season came, it didn't bear fruit, and Ermanni took a big step back. But now when you have three cornerbacks that I think are a lot better than what you put out last year, when Emmanuel does step foot on the field and has the opportunity to play, he's going to make a difference, and I think he's going to bring that physical presence that Aaron Glenn loves.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see this revamped secondary in week one, maybe not with Emmanuel Mosley, but moving forward with Emmanuel Mosley and all of them as well. I want to ask you about the rookies and how they relate to Thursday's game at Kansas City. So we all know in this 2023 draft, the Lions had 4 picks in the first 2 rounds, and I think we all expect them to contribute heavily to some extent. Which Detroit Lions rookie do you think will have the biggest impact on the first game at Arrowhead?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give Lucas a bone here. Is it going to be Sam Laporta? Well, maybe, but maybe. I think that he'll be a safety valve for Jared Goff. But tight ends take a little bit of time. I think that, real interesting what Ben Johnson said about Jahmyr Gibbs. And he said something that I think maybe kind of threw a lot of people in a different direction than what I think. He said that maybe we're going to use Jahmyr Gibbs in a way that a lot of people may not think. And I think people think that means out of the backfield and being a receiver. You know what I think? I think he might get a lion's share of runs. Behind that offensive line, if you want a running back, maybe he gets a little bit more carries than David Montgomery does because he has that explosive nature. I know everybody's talking about the fact that Jahmyr Gibbs is this offensive weapon out of the backfield, but don't be surprised if they hand the ball off a lot more to Jahmyr Gibbs and let him run through that offensive line. That offensive line is tailor-made that even Lucas, Gabby, Jeff, you all could run through that offensive line and get 6 yards. So I think you give the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs and let the man cook.
Yeah, no doubt, John. Let's get to the bread and butter now, the Chiefs. And your thoughts on the matchup. What do you expect? How the game can be played out. This is Jared Goff's first time actually in Arrowhead. We know what happened the last time he played the Chiefs with the Rams. It was a high-scoring game. But how do you expect the game to play out, and what's your final score here? I don't know if you want to give it away yet, but let's get to it, John.
Yeah, look, I'm blessed. First opportunity, I'm going to be at Arrowhead. I'm looking forward to traveling on Wednesday. Yeah, I'm going to spend some time in Kansas City, eat some barbecue. I'm going to be in attendance to see the spectacle, to see the best, to see Patrick Mahomes and that offense, and to see how the Lions pass this test. Look, it's great. I think it's the best opportunity for us to see what this Lions defense is about against a quality opponent and matching wits with Andy Reid. Look, I think the best strategy is to control the time of possessions. Make sure your possessions are 5 to 6 minutes. Run the football and distribute the football evenly to the likes of Amon-Ra St. Brown, Josh Reynolds, Marvin Jones, Khalif Raymond. Keep the football, and the best way to not let Patrick Mahomes beat you is to keep his ass on the bench. And I think that's where if the line – I mean, I would love a shootout. I would love to see a Jared Goff type shootout matching wits with Mahomes, but that's not the best strategy. The best strategy is to control the game. And what Dan Campbell said to the media, I agree with. If you can get a couple turnovers, that gives you the best opportunity to compete and make this a fourth quarter close game. And you saw last year, they got a lot better in opportunities late to make plays and to be able to close the game out. That's the key. I think this is going to be a tough, hard-nosed game, and it's going to come down to the last 5 minutes. And if you want my prediction, it's going to come out Thursday morning at All Lions. I'll give you my detailed thoughts as to what the score is going to be.
There you go. And at this point, we would assume, right, John, like, I don't think Chris Jones is going to play. At least it's Tuesday, and they're not even close to a resolution, right?
Right, and if he does, he's not going to be full go. Like Dan Campbell said, that's the last thing we're worried about is Chris Jones, because if he's there, he's going to play 10 to 15 snaps on third down. He's not going to have that much of an impact missing that much time. I don't expect him to be there, and if he is, I think the Lions understand exactly what to do in order to get the football out quickly, move away from the strengths of that Chiefs defensive line. Look, man, the Lions offense is predicated on quick passes, quick decisions, and pounding the rock. And I think that this, just the opportunity for us to see the 5 healthy starting offensive linemen is going to make David Montgomery happy, Jahmyr Gibbs happy, and all the fans happy, because I think you're going to see exactly what the coaching staff wants. 5 yards a carry, pound the rock, and wear out the Chiefs by the time you get to the fourth quarter.
All right, so I have what some may call a hot take, but I think the audience is actually going to like it, and I kind of teased it on a previous show. I think if the if the Detroit Lions go into Arrowhead and beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 1, that the Lions will get the #1 seed in the NFC going into the playoffs. Am I crazy for that take?
No, not at all. You have a lot of national media looking at this Detroit Lions football team. You look at everything that's going on. I'm really excited to see what this football team can do, and I'm really excited for everything that can happen with this Detroit Lions team. Yeah, it's going to be tough to defeat the Chiefs. It's going to be super tough. But if they do, you know the momentum that's going to be built off of that kind of a win in front of the entire nation. Look, you got to avoid injury. You got to be in a situation in which you can really sustain success. But yeah, it would not shock me if the Lions ended up being a top 3 seed and end up winning this division. This football team is built the way you want to have a football team built, in the trenches, and a veteran quarterback that understands the offense. It's going to be great.
No doubt. Appreciate it, John. Good stuff as always, man. We got to get you back on the show. Again, you can check out all his work, and you can go to si.com/NFL/Lions as well. John does great work over there, covers the Detroit Lions. And like you said, he'll have his results coming out Thursday. So I like the tease there, John. It's very smart of you, very smart. Publisher, All Lions, and host of the Detroit Sports Podcast. Appreciate you for joining, John.
Thank you, guys. One of the best morning shows around. Even though some may want to stir up a beef, you guys are a nice place to start. Every single morning, I have my coffee, talk shit in the trash, in the chat room, and it's a fun opportunity. And guys, highlight Broder. He's a good guy and got a lot of great takes too.
There you go.
Broder's the man.
Showing love.
You.
Yes, sir. Till next time, John. Before